I went along the front of the house with the wire cutter 2 evenings ago, when the heat was bearable, and I cut away as much as I could. I'm now raking it away from the house so that my mum can put down this rather nasty mixture, and we hope it'll all die down so that we can then scrape away at it. I don't know, maybe try and shove it all off with a Karcher system. You know, those high pressure things to make this nice looking the way it's meant to be. And my dad used to keep it in pretty good nick, but we have to try and get it back to that same level because everything has grown. You know, we get a few lime leaves dropping down there, a bit of mud, a bit of rain, and it all grows back in no time. Docks, grass, everything. Now, one thing we've decided to do spontaneously is to recover the flintstone paving at the front of the house, which was put there originally so that any water that dropped off the roof flowed away from the roof. We don't want to have gutter systems on the roof. We want to keep it as genuine as possible. So we're using the heat wave to put down, my mum is putting down an eco-friendly mixture of vinegar, dishwash liquid, and salt. I just heard a crunch. It sounded like a tree falling. It has become suddenly quite windy. Oh yes, something's fallen across the drive. My brother Maxim is coming home in an hour or two. He'll have a surprise. It's not a very big one, but I could hear it from the house. Well, that is a surprise, to say the very least, because we have real storms and enormous branches don't fall. But this is a very minor, I mean, it wasn't even a storm, it's just a bit of wind and it's very dry. Maybe that's why this branch came off. Who knows? It's just really odd that it suddenly decided to fall now. Gosh, this drive is starting to look very incomplete now. Bits falling off all over the place. I'm just trying to think where it came from. I mean, it must have come from this. Ah, up there. Can't see it very well. Up there. Okay, well, someone's got a bit more cutting to do. We hadn't even got rid of the last lot of wood that fell during the big storm at the beginning of January. Some of it's still lying here. Huge chunks. And now another one falls. At least this one's small. This is rather odd weather, I have to say. I'm not used to this. Trees, branches falling. It feels rather awry. And this, I heard just now another branch cracking. I haven't seen anything, but we might not have seen the end of branches falling today. It's supposed to be raining or cooling down at least 10 degrees by tomorrow, and after that it'll be raining. I think we'll all greet the rain. This seems to be on the point of falling as well. I mean, just look at that. How's that even still holding up? Sweltering! Right, all mown. Once again, next time I'm back in August, I'm just going to have to tackle those flower beds, which are also a bit overgrown, except the first one, which keeps that in good order. And we've dealt with the front of the house as well. We put down a mixture of vinegar, salt, and dishwashing liquid, as opposed to Roundup, because we try to be eco-friendly, and it's done quite a good job. And so once that's done, I hope my brother is going to take this high pressure machine and try and get rid of all the earth and any weeds, so that we can see the paving underneath again. The paving went quite a way out here. It started about there along that line, you can see, and it continued all the way along the length of the house. So that's the next step for here. The drive was looking pretty messy. But it's fine now. We still got the piles, as I said. But I'm going to try and get rid of them in August. I've got to make a long list of things I want to do in August. There's no end, really. I'm knackered. I got up every day around 6 o'clock. I'm red all over. I am scratched. I'm pretty exhausted. But it was all fun. But yes, I'm very tired. And the next time will be in August. And there I won't have to look after the children quite so much. So it'll be easier to really get on with jobs and finish the ones I started.
Yeah.
A well-earned drink.
That's why they're called grasshoppers.
After a hot day.
You say hop, hop.
In the grass.
Yeah.
I like to have a grasshopper.
I can hop backwards.
Oh, there's one.
Clever.
I like catching them.
Ah,
I let them fall.
you won't,
Nice
you
scenery.
won't manage to catch that.
I hate leaving Moraville. Every time I'm here, I think I could stay forever. And it's just kind of sad that I have to live in a foreign country. But anyway, that's a decision I made. Things might change one day. I might come back here one day. It's just so lovely and peaceful, and there's so much room, and the grass just smells so lovely when it's cut. The animals in the background. The birds twittering in the morning. There's no place quite like this. And I remember that when I was in my late teens, all our school friends were talking about leaving Normandy and going to Paris, where it was all happening. And I never had that sort of wish. I was actually always quite happy here. In winter it's a little bit dreary. There's always a Norman grey sky above our heads. But that's a minor discomfort, let's say. I'd say that's probably very similar in... I'd say it's probably the same thing in England, huh? But at the beginning of this week, someone turned up at the house, and in fact, it turns out he was one of the descendants of the people who used to live here, the Belgian farmers who occupied the château in the 50s, I think it was. It was after the Germans left. So they rented the house, and he was saying that his uncles and aunts, among which 3 or 4 are still alive, they're into their 90s now, they always, even now, they talk about this house as a dream place, and they had such a lovely childhood here. They really, they just enjoyed this house so much, and they have such fond memories that after they left, 50 years ago or so, even more, they didn't want to come back because the memories had been so lovely, and they'd learned that the house was falling into more and more disrepair, and so they just couldn't face seeing the house in that condition, which I understand. They just had such lovely memories. So I told him, listen, if you still have people, family members alive who used to live in this house, and he said he even had a couple of pictures of the house in the 50s. I mean, that's lovely. I said, please bring us the pictures. I'll make copies. I collect everything I can about this house. And I said, if you still have members alive, then please invite them, or we're inviting you, and we'll have a little party outside, or a drinks together, or we can sit outside in the garden together, and we'll show you the house, we'll show you the gardens. And I think he was quite taken by the idea. He said, well, some of them are in hospitals or old people's homes, and I said, just for the day, just to show them that the house hasn't been abandoned. And I think he's giving it a consideration. But it would be nice just for them to see the house as it is now, externally at least. There's a lot to do in the house still. And I have to say I spent most of my time this week outside, simply because there's been so much to do. I'd say the most productive day as a family was yesterday, because I did a lot of weeding by hand. I watered the plants a lot this week because it was just so bone dry, everything. My brother Maxim did the lawn and he did the drive. So as it turns out, a lot of that week was quite literally saving plants from death due to dryness. We also tried to high pressure the grass and earth away from the front of the house to see the flints again. My brother said it didn't work. He tried it with the machine and it's very likely that we're going to end up having to do it by hand. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to have a few more hands on deck because I can't possibly do that by myself. It would take me my entire August holiday, in other words 2 weeks, just to do that if I did it all by hand. But yeah, we'll see how things go.